With the iPad 8 and iPad Air, Apple announced two new tablets just a couple of days ago. The cheapest one is the Apple iPad 8, which is available in a couple of countries now. Compared to its predecessor, especially the performance should be much better. I'm Andrew from mynexttablet.com, and here's my unboxing and hands-on with the iPad 8. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I'm reviewing pretty much every tablet that gets released. I've got the iPad 8 now, the iPad Air will follow soon, and I'm also working on the Samsung Galaxy Tab A7. Alright, let's start the unboxing of the Apple iPad 8. As I said, it's available in many countries right now, not at all, but I'm sure it will be available almost everywhere very soon. Prices are starting at $329 and if you are a student in the United States, it can even be a little bit cheaper. If you want the LTE version, you've got to pay at least $459, so it's quite an affordable tablet. Inside the box, we've got the tablet first, and it looks a bit similar to the iPad 7. Let's put it to the side first, and then we get stickers as usual, and then you know the usual paper stuff like quick start guide and so on. Then something quite interesting is the Lightning to USB-C cable. I think this is the first iPad with such a cable. And then we also get a USB-C charger. So this is again the first, I believe, at least for a standard iPad with a Lightning port. So yeah, nothing else is inside the box. That's it. As usual, a couple of hours have passed already since I shot the first parts of this video. I already ran a benchmark, played some games, watched some YouTube, browsed the web a bit and played with the Apple Pencil and keyboard, so I've got a bit more to tell you about this tablet. We're starting with the design of the iPad 8, and that looks very familiar because it's basically the same design we already got with the iPad 7 last year, exactly a year ago, almost exactly a year ago. This is the iPad 7, this is the iPad 8. The tablets look and feel exactly the same. So if you're expecting a new design, you're not getting any here. So let's go around the design of the tablet a bit. We've got big black bezels. So it is the old iPad design, not the new one like we get with the new iPad Air or the current iPad Pros. There's a 1.2 megapixel camera on the top. It's obviously not the perfect position for the camera because these days we usually do a lot of video shots, and then it would be nice to have the camera here in the middle in landscape view so that you're looking directly at it, but well, it's still on the side with the old design. Then we're getting the home button with the built-in Touch ID fingerprint scanner, and these days the Touch ID fingerprint scanner is of course very useful because you can use it while having a mask on, and usually you won't use an iPad with a glove, I guess. So the Touch ID fingerprint scanner works very fast, it's very precise, just as we are used to. Now on the back we get a metal body, and it does feel like a very well built tablet. From the back it looks like a very modern tablet, but yeah, from the front, because of the old design, it looks a bit old. But from the back and the feel of it is yeah, very premium feeling, I would say. We're getting an 8 megapixel camera on the back. There's the Apple logo, of course. On the side we've got volume rockers. Then here on the bottom we've got two speakers, and these are the only speakers. So the speakers are actually really good, but since they are only on the bottom, that if you're watching something in landscape view, the sound comes from one side only. That's a bit of a downside because you won't hear any real stereo separation, then it needs to have another pair of speakers on the other side. In the middle of those speakers is a Lightning connector. So using that you charge the tablet, but you can also connect other accessories. Then on this side we've got a connector for the official keyboard, and on the top there's a standard headphone jack, which is missing on the new iPad Air and also on the current iPad Pros, and then we get a power button. Now the design is old, let's check out something new, and that is the internal hardware. Instead of an Apple A10 Fusion from the iPad 7, we're getting an Apple A12 processor now, which is the same chipset that we've seen in the iPad Air 3 and in the current iPad mini. We're also getting 3 GB of RAM, and depending on the version, a 32 GB or 128 GB internal storage. Now those 32 GB usually are fine if you're doing some web browsing, if you're usually streaming from Netflix, YouTube and so on, and maybe do some office work. But if you want to download lots of games, maybe edit lots of photos and videos, then of course it would be nicer to have the 128GB. That's the version I choose because I usually edit lots of photos with my tablets. In my Geekbench 5 comparison, you can see that the Apple A12 chip is a very fast processor, especially the graphics performance is really nice and very nice compared to all Android tablets. The graphics performance of the iPad 8 is better than on the Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 Plus, which is a huge embarrassment for Samsung and just shows how fast Apple's own processors are. Now this processor is about 2 generations old already because the new iPad Air will have an Apple A14 chip, but still you can see how good the performance is, and it's quite a bit better than the Apple A10 Fusion of the iPad 7. You can clearly see that in real life too. I played PUBG Mobile and here you can set the graphics to Ultra HD. Now for a tablet that costs $329, it's quite an astounding thing to see that you can play PUBG Mobile with Ultra HD graphics. I'm sure if Fortnite would be still a thing on iPads, then you could probably play it with epic settings on here, but yeah, it looks really nice. I also played F1 Mobile, that's a racing game, and it runs fine too. So the performance here seems really nice, especially for the price. Now something that's nice but certainly not outstanding is the 10.2-inch IPS screen here. First of all, let's check out the positive aspects, which is that it is a 10.2-inch IPS screen. It's a pretty one, colors look good, saturation is good, contrast is totally fine, and it has a resolution of 2160 by 1620 pixels. So quite a high resolution, so that text and icons and so on, they I think certainly look sharp. So that's nice. It's also nice that the screen is quite bright with 500 nits, and viewing angles are pretty good too. By the way, this 500 nits display has the same brightness as the Samsung Galaxy Tab S7, which is 500 nits bright too. The only other tablet that's brighter probably at the moment is the iPad Pro with 600 nits. Now, as I said, not everything is perfect about this screen, and that's because this screen, like all of its predecessors, is not laminated. That means there's a small air gap visible below the touchscreen, between the touchscreen and the IPS layer. It's maybe 1 or 2 millimeters or something. That's really a downside because if you look carefully, it's sometimes you feel like you're not touching the screen directly, especially when you're working with the Apple Pencil. Now, every time I show the standard iPad to normal people who are not into tech, they think the screen is totally fine and usually think it's an amazing screen. Maybe because it's an iPad, or maybe because, just most people don't notice that the screen is not laminated. But if you know of it, then you will notice it, especially when you know of it and when you use the Apple Pencil. So that's a downside. It's not a deal breaker, I think, but certainly a downside. Now let's get to that Apple Pencil. This is the Apple Pencil 1 that is compatible with the iPad 8. That's the same pen that Apple sold with the first couple of iPad Pro tablets and with the iPad Air, iPad Mini, and with the iPad 7 and iPad 6. It's not interchangeable with the Apple Pencil 2 that you can get for the current iPad Pro and also the new iPad Air. So those pens, that's the downside, are not interchangeable. Now, this is a pen with a pretty good size. I think it's made of plastic, but feels okay. It's a bit slippery maybe, but totally fine. There's a pressure sensitive tip, and then there's a little cap you can remove, which brings in a lightning connector. And if you want to connect the Apple Pencil to the iPad the first time, you just put it into the lightning port of the tablet, and then they get connected very easily. And that's also how you can charge the pen, which always looks a bit weird. If you don't want to do that, you can use the adapter. That's just a lightning adapter. Then you can use the charging cable of the iPad to charge the Apple Pencil as well. And you also get a replacement tip. The Apple Pencil new costs $99, but since it's been a couple of years old already, you might be able to find cheaper ones on eBay or so if you don't want to pay the new price. Now, the iPad 8 is the first iPad to ship with iPadOS 14, but pretty much every current iPad will get an update to iPadOS 14 all the way down to the iPad 5. So yeah, this is the iPad 8 now, so you can see that Apple is updating their tablets for quite a long time. The iPad 5, iPad 6, 7, current iPad Airs, and the whole iPad Pro lineup, they were all getting iPadOS 14. So with updates, Apple usually is better than every Android manufacturer. Now, the most important features of iPadOS 14, the new ones, are for the Apple Pencil. First of all, there's something called Scribble, which allows you to write in pretty much every text field with your handwriting inside every text field, like in the browser, or I used it to search on YouTube, and it works really well. Now, for that to work, you've got to have at least the English keyboard installed. You don't have to set it to English, but the keyboard has to be installed. So if you're from Germany, Spain, or whatever, then yeah, you probably need to do that in the settings, and then you can use the Scribble feature too. Now, the handwriting recognition works very well in the Apple Notes app as well. You can either have it transformed into typed text immediately. That works fine, but you can also just use your handwritten text and then select it just as you would with normal text and copy it and so on. So yeah, the handwriting recognition from Apple seems to work very well. Now, there are a couple of other features built in for the Apple Pencil. For example, if you want to take a screenshot and annotate it, you can use a gesture by just swiping from a corner, and then you can, annotate something, write something, and save it just inside your photos. A quite interesting feature is if you're in the lock screen without having unlocked the tablet, you can just press on the screen with the Apple Pencil, and then the notes is opened, and then you can start a new note without having to unlock the tablet. Now, Samsung has very similar features with their Air commands, and Samsung has much more features than Apple has, but I think Apple supports the most common features that you actually need. Now, if you haven't used an iPad in a while, an iPadOS for a couple of years now has been supporting quite a lot of interesting features. The multitasking works fantastic recently. So yeah, I think it's a really good operating system for multitasking. There's also a Files app built in now. You can even connect external storage, and yeah, I think that's great. Who would have thought that Apple will ever support external storage like SSDs and so on? Now, let's check out the keyboard. This is the Apple Smart Keyboard that you've got to buy separately, of course. That's the same keyboard that Apple has been selling for the first iPad Pro, also for the iPad Air 3 and for the iPad 7. So this is a pretty standard keyboard folio. It's not a real keyboard kind of like the Apple Magic Keyboard or so. That is not compatible. You've got to pay $159 new for this keyboard. It attaches magnetically to the tablet using the magnetic connector, and that works pretty well like this. And then you can fold it up so that the screen is protected, but the back is always free. That is the downside of this design of this keyboard. Now, a downside too is that you can use it at one angle only, so you can't use the keyboard in different angles. That's a bit of a downside. Now, I'm always able to type with this keyboard pretty well because I type with tablet keyboards a lot. And yeah, the keyboard is fine. The keys don't have a real travel, just a little bit, but yeah, you can get used to it. Now, it's not as comfortable as a real keyboard. I always describe it as a good compromise of comfort and mobility. So yeah, it's fine if you work with it in a coffee shop or in a train or on a plane or something. But at home, if you're working at your desk, I would always recommend to connect a proper big Bluetooth keyboard. But for something on the go, this keyboard is totally fine. Now you can see it does not have a touchpad, but iPadOS 14 and this iPad does support a touchpad and a mouse. So you can connect an external mouse or an external touchpad or something, and it should work fine. Okay, I have to start my proper review of the iPad 8 now. The most interesting thing certainly is the Apple A12 processor, because for this price, for $329, you're really getting a very fast chipset. You will even be able to edit 4K videos in like LumaFusion or Adobe Premiere Rush. It should be fine with this tablet. So for that price, that's really nice. And that's why my first impressions of this tablet are very good. Many aspects are great, like Touch ID is great, the display is okay, the software is great, and especially again the Apple A12 seems to be really nice. One of the few downsides is just that the screen is not laminated. If this screen would be laminated, then this would be the winner tablet for almost everything. But yeah, that's a downside. So if you want a laminated screen, then you can't get the iPad 8. But yeah, my first impressions are really good, especially again for this price. This is not a high-end tablet at all, but the value is really nice. Alright, that's my unboxing and hands-on with the Apple iPad 8. If you have any questions, write them down below. I'm NJ from mynexttablet.com. Thanks for watching and see you next time.